This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. So, first off, now that we are in combat, we need to get you onto your proper point in the action points. So, I believe, Vex, you don't... What's your normal action point value? Because you are lacking quite a few at the moment.
Yeah, my normal one would be 12. But I believe with my brain and eyes missing, it's like 9 tops.
Nixe, I believe you have quite a few. So you're normally at 9, but then you also have adrenaline, which puts you up to 10. Then you also have your +2 because of your class ability, which is Battle Maiden. So that puts you up to 12. And then I could have sworn you had another one somewhere. But maybe not. Oh, right. If you break your limiter, then you get more. But yeah, so at the moment, put yourself at 12. And because you have... so these guys normally start at 10. But because of Stagger, you have subtracted 2 from him. As a result of that. So he is currently last on initiative. Oh, sorry. Let me redact myself there. I forgot about one extra part that they have. They normally start at 12, and we're putting them down to 10. I forgot that these guys were a proper fucking threat. So, yeah. So we're gonna do... He's at 10, which means he is before Vex, but that kind of makes sense, to be honest. Right. Okay. So... At the top of initiative, and I will start all of this out by saying that there is a goal for this fight. It is one of two things. You either have to succeed in escaping, if that is what you would like to do, or destroying the enemy before reinforcements arrive, if he manages to send word. So it's basically either prevent him from escaping or escape yourselves. It's one or the other. With that in mind, Nixe, you're up.
Well, I was thinking of hindering him from escaping, murdering this man. So, or person, please, can you tell me real quick, Sav, What kind of gear are they wearing? Are they wearing like Fallout power armor? Are they wearing like, they have a fun little COVID mask on? Like, what's their situation?
So, you can see that they are wearing armor. It's nothing. Here's the thing about the armor. It's tactical armor, which means that it is designed to remain lightweight and allow them to move properly. As a result, it doesn't have a lot of stopping power, but it does mean that they are essentially... It's not going to be easy to, like, target your blows, because it is going to be more a matter of finding places to slip between the armor. Mechanically speaking, that is essentially the reasoning for him performing, like, a horror. For those who don't know, a horror can assign damage as they... wish, as opposed to as dictated by the dice. So you can see that they are also holding a very advanced looking assault rifle, which has both a scope on the top of it and an underslung flashlight as previously described. This guy does not look like he fucks around. It is very clear that he is a trained military professional. That being said, you can see that even a normal person, after you'd shocked them with that much ferocity, even if it was a bit of a rough start, somebody like that would normally be left reeling for quite a while, and you can sense that he's already starting to recover. Clearly having put up with tasers in the past before. So, with that in mind, what would you like to do?
Well, I thought that he was gonna be reeling for a while, so I was gonna ask if there was like a clasp or something on the back of his mask so we can just flip him over and start drowning him while Vex hold him down. But if he's already recovering, well, I do have a lot of moves that hinder people after all.
You do. What would you like to do?
Just a fucking knee kick this guy over and over and be a piece of shit. Yeah, you know what? Let's go for another knee kick with the elect trigger.
Alright, make your attack.
Yes, I will use my forearm support this time around.
Right, so...
To really make sure I trigger this guy.
So yeah, with that, though, here's the funny thing. It's that because you staggered him again, I believe he loses yet another 2 fucking action points.
Please.
Which means he goes after you. So, and he does take another damage. So let me. This could very quickly turn into a stun lock.
Please, with the revenge.
That is absolutely what we want.
Right. You see him recovering in a time that you would not normally expect of somebody, and you go, "Nuh-uh, ain't happening, Chief," and you just drive the heel of your foot into the small of his back again, and just let loose another charge of electricity as you watch him convulse once more, unable to even let loose any kind of insult towards you, as he is just tensed up, unable to do anything. Vex and Nixe, would you like to JoJo Part 5 this man?
You mean the cafe scene where we kick the shit out of him?
I am gonna say this, Vex. Now that a fight has broken out, you can essentially you can feel that there is a warm body next to you that has ill intent towards you. You can almost sense the disturbances in the air, not in a way that means anything, but enough that you can feel the wrist blades from your arms itching to spring out and cut into flesh.
Nixe sees Vex kind of like... It's odd how she suddenly, was flailing just a second ago, but then suddenly turns directly towards this guy she's just knocked over, and kind of hesitantly yet purposefully holds out her arms in the praying mantis pose, and I will try to slice into him with my scythes.
You could support yourself.
I will do so.
All right.
He's also prone. I don't know if that counts in this game.
No. So yeah, no. He is on the floor and he is just convulsing, and it is that very movement that you can sense as you flick out your blades and simply just drive it into the easiest target you could hope for in the state that you are in. How much damage does that do? Just the one?
Just the one, but it has chain attack.
Okay, make your second attack. Right, that second one does not land true. But that being said, what are you doing simultaneously?
You want to take a wild guess what I'm doing?
Yeah, go for it. Make a roll.
I'm gonna use electric.
Yes, you do not have your support anymore, but by all means. No. You watch as, now that he has shifted over to the side, throwing from his flesh the blade of Vex's, which had not dug as deep as you might have hoped. he spins over on his back and levels his gun at you, Nixe. And you see as he briefly looks down the sights, he is going to use his assault rifle, which is, it is a 3 cost, but it is a 3 damage attack. And he is using his scope to give him a +2 to this. So he's giving himself a +2 by using his scope. Oh, and he automatically gets a +1 because he's trained. So he actually gets a +3 to this.
Oh, of course it is.
So that is going to be a hit on your legs, but that is within range for you to hinder.
I can use... okay.
What was the flavor behind the embalming? I believe we said it was just something like, I think it's just straight up like flashbang level of strobing from your eyes.
Oh yeah, no, let's just give this man epilepsy. Just fucking blink at him.
Alright. So, he swings around on his back and goes to raise his gun. You can see that he is a little twitchy on the trigger finger and is about to pull the trigger before he can level it to your body, which would still be bad news because it would be landing directly into your legs, which is where a lot of important parts are for you. In the blink of an eye, literally, you activate the basically like military grade level of strobing and flashing and like just this horrible cacophony of light that makes it hard to look at you for any extended period of time. And as that happens, you watch as he just goes and puts his hand across his eyes and pulls the trigger, instead going off to the side.
Still loud as hell, though.
That is still loud, so you have essentially what has happened is that is added to the clock, which means that somebody might come down here. But that being said, that is 1, 2, 3 that he has spent for that.
Hello.
Vex, it's your turn.
Alright.
I mean, even with being deaf, this gun is powerful enough that you felt the thumping of its recoil as it was driving his elbow back into the brick. You know where he is.
Then she is going to try to eviscerate him once again.
Go for it. Oof. So that's not a critical failure, luckily, but that is nada.
Though she can sense vaguely where these guys are, the entire basis of her fighting style is using her eyes and ears, analyzing the battlefield and the posture of her enemies. It's still fairly easy to get out of her way.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, it's a clusterfuck now. Everybody acts at once. So,
Jesus.
As is the case with the rules, you get to know what I'm doing first, even though you are acting simultaneously. So you do have that little edge over him. Unsurprisingly, he essentially is going to so he can't use his scope anymore, he has used that maneuver, but he is just going to aim at you, Nixe, and fire once again.
I can? You know what? Carpe diem, they say. Like trigger and spikes.
Alright.
I'm fucking going for it. Like, no one is doing well in this fight.
And Vex, I can only assume that you're just going to go for another attack as well.
Yeah.
What am I rolling?
Iris,
How many?
I'll support myself on the one.
You've used your forearm, haven't you?
Oh no, yeah, I thought that was out of combat, but no, that was in combat.
You
Yep,
have
I
used it both out of combat and in combat already, so you miss once again. But this time you see as the blade, like in almost in a comedy movie, it slams like right next to this guy's head, and he's just like, oh fuck, as it happens. It literally grazes his mask. And could you make your roll, please?
Yeah, and I don't think I have anything to add, it's just a flat.
Just
D10.
flat.
Fuck
No.
me! Why?
So,
Why?
the nice thing is, since you didn't do damage, you don't have to spend the cost for using spikes, you can just save that. But you will still have to spend the 2 for, obviously, using the maneuver. So, Now, it is his roll. Yup. So, I believe 8... Hold on, so it's 7 is legs, 8 is torso. He's going to hit you in the torso.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
It will be 3 damage, unless you can do something about it. Now, you do have an interesting thing you can do here.
My limiter?
You do. You could damage both your entrails and your limiter.
Because when my limiter is gone, that gives me 2 extra to my maximum action points. This effect lasts until the end of the battle phase.
So you don't immediately get them, but when the round refreshes, which is very soon, you will be at a higher action point straight away. So yeah, you go to once again land another blow on him as the blade of Vex lands beside his head, and unfortunately all that you manage to do is position yourself in such a way that you feel these anti-personnel rounds suddenly shred into your guts as you feel your entrails and various organs just torn apart. In the current state of things, that does not actually do much to kill you unless you leave it for literally weeks. So, you can keep going, but the main thing that happens is one of the bullets tears through some of the infrastructure that you have on your spine, and you feel that the limiting coils around your spinal column, which are used to modulate the intense amount of electricity that flows through your body, they are damaged as all of a sudden you feel this rush of bioelectrical energy pulsing through you, and you almost feel as if there is lightning coursing through you. He witnesses as your eyes actually become brighter and the veins of lights that decorate your form glow much more strongly for a moment and flicker. And it is your turn, Nixe.
I do not have a lot of action points left, but I did just get some. Or in a second I will get some tasty action points, which means that I can try Electrigger and Spikes again.
Yes.
Please something above 6. Are you shitting me?
So, this does unfortunately mean that you hit yourself or an ally.
I'd rather hit myself then, so I don't confuse Vex.
Okay, I will take that. So, you obviously don't have to add spikes to this. You will just take the normal you'll just take the normal 1 damage. You do get to pick where that goes, though.
I think I'll take that to the shoulder.
You go to raise up your fist and intend to activate the systems in your body that essentially reshapes some of your bioreactive skin into spikes. And as you go to send the signal to do that, the freshly invigorated electricity within your body it just short circuits, and you suddenly feel something blow inside of your shoulder as your arm hitches back as you just are shocked. And unfortunately, I do believe that means you stagger yourself.
Shit.
So you will be put at -1.
Fuck me. This is why I don't do combat.
Yup. You're not suited to this. With that in mind, it is Vex and his turn. He, unsurprisingly, is going to take advantage of this situation and try and properly nail Nixe one more time. And probably get onto his knee in the meantime as well. Vex, what are you doing?
Well, little does he know it's my job to try to nail Nixe. So, I'm gonna try to...
Please.
Slash once again.
Yes!
There we go.
Yes,
and that's a crit!
Yes. Save me!
So,
save this dainty princess fish!
I believe that immediately means that you're dealing 2 damage instead of 1 damage.
Yes.
Which he is going to take to... I think that's going to go to his scope and on it. Oh, and you hit with your second one as well. Holy shit. Okay, so that means he's taking 3 damage total.
Essentially, like, all of the sort of grace and agility Vex is known for in combat, just being this whirlwind of blades, is for the most part not present. She just manages to kind of, after he was focusing on Nixe for a moment, she just sort of manages to leap forward and pierce both blades down into his armaments.
Yeah, you end up destroying his scope, his eyes, and he has an ability called Gun God, which essentially means you are just injuring him so badly that he is now in a panic and not using his training. So, yeah, you end up raking one of your blades, like, across his head in such a way that it just tears into both of his eyes. The blade, which is sharp enough to pierce through a combat helmet, simply has him going from seeing to suddenly blackness, as the other one manages to take out the scope on his gun on its way into his chest, setting him into a slight panic as he now kind of goes to spray and pray with his gun. So, he is now he does get to make his roll still, but you have successfully taken from him his ability to add 1 to his roll. So, this is just going to be a flat d10. Oh boy!
Oh, fuck everything. Can I... No, I can't do anything right now. I'm staggered.
So, fortunately, this does not mean it is a crit, because it has to be above 10 to be a crit. It does mean he's hitting you in the head.
Me?
Yes.
Shit.
So you probably want to hinder that.
Yes, I'm gonna hinder.
If you still have hinders left anyway.
I do have 1 hinder in my foot.
Yes, you have your foot hinder.
If it's 9, what is it?
That's the arms, if it's 9.
Where do you want to get hit, Fleecie? Your arms or your, torso?
Torso, I think...
I guess, how much damage is this doing?
It will do 3 damage. And
oh, man.
So damage
Wow.
that, if you don't have the damage capacity in a location, it carries over into an adjacent location of your choice.
Okay.
So basically you're losing entrail, spine, and something in your legs or arms, or all of your arms. It's up to you.
I'm gonna take out my torso and 1 bone in my leg.
Alright, then I'm using my hinder as well to put it down to 8.
Okay. Yeah, from you just staying latched onto him and wrenching him around in order to, fuck with his aim, and by virtue of the fact that you seeing this coming, you see it fucking pointing directly at your head, and in a brief moment of animal instincts and the swiftness that is now in your body from the limiter being broken, you just do this incredibly quick crescent kick with your foot to point it downwards as you feel it once again blast into your stomach. You feel the sensation of you losing feeling to the lower half of your body as your spine is severed. You could still... Fortunately, cybernetics are such that they have backups which allow them to keep moving, even if you don't have the ability to feel it. But you simultaneously also feel one of your leg bones snap just before you lose all of the feeling, as one of the anti-personal rounds tears through it. 1, 2, 3. So, we have ended the first round of combat, which means we are going to the top. Could everybody please add a point of blood first? Vex, I need you to add 2 points of blood first instead.
Alright.
So, right now, I believe, Vex, you didn't lose out on anything. so you are just back up to 9. Because you were at 0 at the end of the round. Nixe, you lost out on your spine, but you got your limiter. So, let me double check. I believe spine is just a 1. Oh no! Spine doesn't contribute to action points.
No, spine is essentially like holding an action kind of deal.
So, you actually would have your normal... I believe you started at 12, is that right?
Yes.
And then you have your extra +2 because of your limiter, which is 14. -1 because of where you are in the initiative puts you at 13.
Alright. This is your opportunity to just fucking destroy him. Like, whatever you have to just kill and maim.
So,
use that.
What happens is... because this is how I like to flavor this particular aspect of the game. There is an ebb and flow to combat where people manage to get themselves like a little bit of breathing room in that rhythm that everyone is looking for. And so, like the beating of a heart, you suddenly feel as this final set of gunshots rings out, he wrests Vex from his back and tosses you backwards, standing up in the process. Nixe, you seeing this happen, back up as you position yourself to strike and realize that with him turned around to throw Vex off of him, that you have the prime opportunity to finish this off. That being said, I need to make a roll because he's fired 3 times with his gun. You hear the sound of yelling in the distance. They are not here, but they have most certainly been alerted. It is do or die.
Well, then it is die, and it is him that will die. You know what? It has failed me every single time so far. But why not do trigger and spikes?
Go for it.
This is very disoriented, man. That I hate you.
You do have your supports back.
Support myself. In this house, we support ourselves. Self-care.
So that will put you up to a 5, which is technically not enough.
I will also support her, but via the means of, so at this point, right, even though the rush of combat has been happening, you've said he's properly focused on Vex, and he can see her sort of current state and how she's still somehow fighting, and literally like an undying corpse, she just is shambling towards him again, and just in so doing, she's raising her arms to attack, and in so doing, that is distracting him just for the second longer Nixe needs.
That makes sense. Right, so that puts that up to barely a hit, which will mean that you can add your spikes, which tell me how much that costs action-wise, and how much damage it gives you.
It costs 1.
Okay, so you're spending 3 total.
Add +2 to the damage for an unarmed or melee attack.
Which this is. So that is 3 damage total and stagger. So 1, 2, and... Oh no. Right, I think I know what happens. Oh no, that's right, he can't... Okay, well, because of the way that I've done this setting, it's not technically vanilla Necronica. There is no way in hell that he would willingly destroy his own brain. So, in vanilla Necronica, the combat would not be over.
Mm-hmm.
You have destroyed everything except his brain. So, combat is over.
He's gonna take a little water nap for now.
So, how do you finish this man off? You leave him, he is still alive, but how do you do it?
How do I finish? I just think that Nixe just does like a quick classic, dive quick under the water, does a really fast, water creature, swim up to him, then just jump up in the air and just kick him with trigger and spikes.
Mm-hmm. You leap out of the water, and You line the hardest part of your leg with the bioreactive spikes that are grown from your cybernetic skin as they plant directly into his neck and deliver a lethal dose of electricity directly into his nervous system, far more potently than before. As you watch him, again, he would scream if he could, but with the electricity pulsing through his vocal cords, you are suddenly brought to the... Your other foot is brought to the ground, and you hold your other one in place in his neck, and finally release it as the final coil unwinds from your generators in your leg, and you pull it out, blood spraying in an arc as you settle it to the ground as well. And you see that he is alive, breathing, but blind, and beyond the ability to move. He is just coughing blood as there is this horrible smell of burnt flesh and ozone in the air from the electricity. I'm going to give this to you for free because this is just common sense. You are both dredge and you would absolutely have this instinct straight away. He is alive, but he has seen a headless corpse fighting. You either need to do something to make sure that he is never able to tell anyone again, or kill him. The other option is to willingly allow them to know what happened.
Yeah, no, we should kill him. Like, there's no way, and I as Nixe would prefer if no one knows my face, or as few people as possible know my face. Yeah, I think I'll just attack this guy again.
All right.
I want him dead.
You don't need to roll for it. You can just kill him in whatever way you would like. I can only assume there's how do you kill him? How do you finish him off?
A very simple can I use my spikes for flavor here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since he's dying? Cool. I will, with my fists, have some cool-ass spikes manifest, and then I'll punch a hole in his throat just to make sure that if his vocal cords didn't snap before, they have now. Dead men should not tell any tales, after all.
You manifest a wicked-looking singular spike on the end of your fist and go to simultaneously tear through his vocal cords and pierce into his brain at the same time with an uppercut. And he, sure enough, is left dead.
Time to leave!
All right. So, at this point, I think it's safe to say that you take the quick route.
Yeah, we have to at this point.
So, there is
Sucks,
no
but we
longer...
have to.
You are no longer trying to stealth. This is now simply a matter of outrunning them. We are no longer doing the previous mechanics because they have been alerted to the fact that there is something going on here. All I will ask is for a roll to be made, just in case you make a low enough roll that you are in danger.
A flat d10?
With a +1, because of your familiarity with the sewers once more.
Oh,
this is not
please.
for this is not for avoiding danger, this is just for how fast you're going.
Please.
So, I think the way this plays out, there is a definitive boundary, as was described last time, to where it definitively becomes within the city. It's a little further in than most people would like, but it's very much the only marker which is consistent enough throughout the sewers that most people can be like, yup, we can't go past there. That is an aggressive act if we do so. Your leg is injured. You are towing two people with you, and though you can move well enough, it is unfortunately at a rate that you are constantly hearing them behind you. Not within sight, thankfully, but there is the ever-present threat. And it is when you finally get within sight, the markings of various like warnings and essentially informational like signs about, oh, you know, from here on out is to be developed, blah blah blah, and the more importantly, the notable barred gate that kind of acts as the boundary. And as you're coming up on it, you see that characteristic shadow cast in front of you of your own bodies, as one of the flashlights finally makes direct line towards you. But you a little heavily slam your body into this gate as you kind of push yourself through it. You just keep running because there's nothing saying that they won't just shoot at you and just fucking take you back, right? So you just keep going, and eventually you hear, "Permission to open fire, sir." No, let him go. There's no reason. And that's the last you hear as you turn a corner, and you are just barely safe within the city for now.
Nixe is not gonna wholeheartedly believe that until she basically is just taking some extra, some extra turns, some extra twisted little, both shortcuts and extra turns, as she's within the boundary of the city, of course. Just to, really just snake it the hell around and dragging two dead bodies behind her before she is, willing to calm down. Because that was way too close for her liking.
Hey everyone, been pulling another late one, cause that's apparently how I operate. Anyway, welcome to the ad break. One or two things this time before we get into the shilling. There was actually a couple of rules things that I just wanted to cover real quick, because there was one or two things which I didn't necessarily do wrong with the system, but I wanted to address because I try to keep myself consistent with the way that I handle any rule which seems ambiguous in a rule book. And going forward, one that I noticed I started treating differently was that limiters, when they're broken, since some other people have picked them up in future episodes, when they're broken, I don't think that the rulebook makes it clear exactly whether you get those action points immediately or not. If it does say so, it's been lost in translation, or I just haven't seen it. But in this episode, you'll notice that I say that Nixe didn't get it until the beginning of the next round of combat. But going forward, I do actually grant that AP straight away, and I just didn't want that to be, confusing at any point. I believe I also made a slight rules mistake. It didn't actually end up causing too much issue. I kind of listened back, and it was really just a matter of whether Nix's arms or body were going to be damaged. But she should not have been able to have used her part embalming, which we flavored as her strobe eyes. She should not have been able to have used those during that last shot, because she was on negative AP. And you cannot use any of your maneuvers when you have negative AP. So for anyone who cares about that, I did in fact screw up on that second instance, and I've seen it, and I caught it, and hey, all we can do is move on. You know how TTRPGs are, sometimes you just make a mistake in the moment, and you just have to roll with it. Fortunately, it wasn't anything someone's head exploding that it affected. Anyway, why don't we get back to the shilling, huh? If you are enjoying Heart of Hope, and you want to help me out so I can keep making stuff like this, and also get hold of an episode ahead of time, then you can join my Patreon, which is over at patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. And for as little as $1 a month, you will be able to get episode 12 right now. And if you want to support me for some extra cash, you can do so and just be super awesome and cool that way. But even that minimum amount of $1 will still get you that episode ahead of time. Also, if you want to see me streaming or you want to find me on, various social medias like Blue Sky and such, then you can find me pretty much everywhere at eternal_savvy. The only exception to that is my VOD channel on YouTube, which is staying_savvy, but my regular YouTube is indeed eternal_savvy as well. And speaking of YouTube, if you are listening to this on YouTube right now, then do you know how you can help us out? You can like, comment, and subscribe, and the comment one is especially big, and I love seeing you guys talk about the show. I love interacting with you guys, talking about the show, responding to your comments, all of that jazz. And it tells the algorithm that this is something to show people. So it will really help out if you do that. And if you're on an RSS feed, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podcast Addict or any of those kinds of apps that are out there, then it's also a massive help if you download the show and rate it, if they have a star rating available for you on there. It really, really helps out. I think that is just about everything today. Aside from, I also have a Ko-Fi if you want to support me there. And of course, fan art. This is the one I try to remember more often. If you do fan art of the show because you're super awesome and rad like that, then you can either post it on Blue Sky and tag my account, eternal_savvy, and use the hashtag Heart of Hope, or you can, if you're part of my Discord, then you can send it to us there. I love seeing fan art, and I love you to pieces if you do any kind of interpretation of any of the characters from this game. Thank you to all of the people who've already done it. I've been rambling for a while. Let's get back to the episode, why don't we? Bye-bye! Now, Nixe, you are presented with another question.
Mm-hmm.
What next? Now, I will say this. I will give this to you because you were in the presence of Vex in a quite uniquely in a situation where she was actually quite in character and said the name of her fixer, of her doctor, which was Stitch. And you would be fully aware of who that is because he is one of the few people who is unaffiliated and willing to do medical work on people, which would be Stitches, and that is the best lead you've got for where to take her. I can only assume that is where you go.
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm going to just before that, I'm just gonna be like, of course, none of us are doing great, but I'm just gonna do a quick pat down of Vex to just be like, and then just write, "How are you?" on her arm.
So I think what she would, when Nixe eventually finally slows down, enough to do this, Vex pauses for a moment and then writes, "Fine, I think. I can't feel my head."
After all this, tension, as Vex writes that on her arm, Nixe actually starts laughing as she just deflates and all the pressure. It's just I think if Vex can sort of sense things, I think she would be able to sense that Nixe is at that response just greatly relaxes because she's just laughing.
Fantastic. Right. Yeah, with that.
And then I'm gonna write, again on her arm, "We're going to Stitch."
After you write that, she would, seemingly try to nod before hesitantly taking your arm again.
And we start, walking through the sewers, of course. And I'm trying to, like, think of, like, okay, what's some good ways for us to get to Stitches without getting seen by anybody aside from Stitch?
Sewers is fine. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I have to leave the sewers and then go. I'm going to assume that he doesn't have a random manhole at his clinic indoors.
Listen, let me put it this way. You guys have gotten through the conflict. I'm not going to put you through that additional little bit there.
All right.
So you emerge from the street and you are in the back alleys, thankfully. And you haven't really ever navigated to this place through the back alleys, but you know them well enough that you can tell which building is the clinic fairly easily, just by virtue of the waste that's outside of it, as well as, you know, just having a sense of these things. You knock on the back door, or do you just let yourself in?
Normally, I would just walk in, because Nixe doesn't believe in boundaries. But in this case, I think she would like some customer service. And just to make sure, because she wants to make sure that no one else is inside the clinic when they are in, basically.
You knock on the steel doors, and it's a minute or so of nothing, and just as you're about to knock again, you hear the distinct sound of a door into the room that this leads into opening, and footsteps trailing in, and you hear...
Before that, I just want to mention... Probably on the way here, I just probably found some quick, like, discarded old thrown away clothes to just hide the fact that Vix is headless and I don't have a torso.
Totally fair. Or, well, you have a torso, it's just extremely fucked up.
Yeah, but I also, you know, I don't want it to open the door and be like, oh, no head.
Totally fair. So, yeah, you hear as this door opens the muffled sound of a very gravelly voiced individual just go, "No one use the fucking front door, Christ." And you hear the sound of some fairly heavy bolts unlatching as he pushes open this fire exit, which is probably not up to code considering that it's bolted. And he opens the door to see what is to him an unfamiliar face. And he goes, oh, great, another stray who's decided to come in through the back door. What is it? And why have you got such a fucking entourage? Christ.
First of all, I believe it or not, but I'm actually a dredge, she says.
Oh, great. Well, doesn't mean a whole lot to me unless you got the money.
Plenty of it, are you like, considering the shit Nixe deals with you, I think she has a decent amount of money at least.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And she is just like, I could even take you out for fucking coffee if you wanted to after this.
Well, since you offered, come on in.
She should drags Vex with her.
You get the distinct feeling that he is absolutely going to hold you to that.
That's she honestly, she's more dreading like the idea of actually going out with someone in public than paying for coffee for him.
I'm gonna give him a roll real quick for something. Okay, no. Actually, no, he would know. Yeah, no, he knows Vex well enough that I think he recognizes her clothing and thus would get a bonus to that roll. So he leads you in, and it's when you step into the harsh fluorescent light of one of his operating rooms that he recognizes the particular outfit that is being worn by the now draped Vex, her silhouette having previously been obfuscated by the lack of a head and the carrying of a body. You carefully sit her down onto one of the gurneys, or rather, it's a metal table designed for autopsies, and quite grimly. And he looks and he goes like, "Oh fuck, is that Vex?"
And with the subtlety of a firework display, Nixe is going to grab the head covering Vex has, and the way that a trick that people do on like a decorated table, and they just pull off the tablecloth with all the shit stains back, like with that kind of motion, just pulls off the cloth around her head to just be like, ta-da, she has no head.
He straight up like backs up, trips over one of the like tool tables that he's got, and like,
I'm not paying for that.
And he's just like, what the fuck? He just kind of takes a second to compose himself as there is just the clattering of scalpels and various other medical tools as he looks up, and he just goes, Is Vex dead?
Well, you saw her walk in here, so...
No, that's important. There's no way that can be right. He stands up and goes over to Vex and kind of, somewhat unceremoniously, like, goes to grab Vex's shoulder, and Vex, you feel the sudden and firm grasp of someone's hand on your shoulder.
I think that at this point she maybe can assume they're somewhere, but like she really doesn't totally know. So when she feels the grip of someone who clearly isn't Nixe, I think she just punches him in the stomach.
Before Nixe can be like, wait.
Make me roll with a +2. He is not a fighter.
Oh my god.
You feel it, and you just immediately drive your fist into this person's gut as hard as you can. And taking him completely off guard, you watch Nixe as you're like sputtering out a warning of some kind as he just suddenly goes and just doubles over onto the ground, just like, what?
I suggest you be a little careful right now. See, she's not using her head right now.
Yeah, there's no fucking head to use. Hold on. No. I've got a fucking patient right now. He gets up off the floor and just goes, Don't let anyone in the room but me. And just fucking stumbles out of the room as you hear a commotion as he just goes, you essentially hear him hastily like finish up what he was doing, and as the guys are complaining of just like, hey, there's still other stuff to do, he's just like, whatever fucking bill me, come back tomorrow, and just fucking shoves him out the door.
In the meantime, like, Nixe, just not really giving a shit that man got punched, just walks over to Vex and like carefully takes her hand and writes her on her arm. You just punched Stitched, by the way.
I think she just like grips Nix's arm tighter, like tensing up a bit.
Like, he's fine. Shit. She just writes, he's fine.
You, at this point, you realize that Vex has still got this dead body hoisted over her shoulder.
So she like generally kind of starts tugging on it a little bit to be like, hey, I can take this.
Yeah, she'd let you very gratefully at this point.
You lay it onto a neighboring autopsy table, and it looks pretty much as bad as it did before, but just with a little bit of unfortunate sewer slime on him now. And yeah, you set him down to be addressed later as Stitch in a cold sweat with a cloth wiping away at his misshapen head. He comes. Yeah. By the way, he has like he has a massive scar on his skull, on his brain, on his head from where he had a horrible wound that he has sewn up.
She just kind of thinks to herself, it can be a fun little project to find out how that happened later.
Mm-hmm. But he comes in and goes to the back door, which you've just come in through, and you hear that he's basically just been locking all of the various entrances and stuff before coming in here, as he finally bolts and slaps a padlock onto the back door, and he kind of just turns around and looks at you, and rubbing his kind of hand on his stomach, clearly still feeling that punch, just goes, "There really is Vex. Holy fuck." And he just kind of slowly approaches and just goes, "What the fuck happened?"
I mean, she took a helicopter to the head.
Sure.
She kind of smirks so that it looks like she's fucking with him.
And he just turns his head to the dead body that's on his other table and just goes, "And you've got a corpse with you?"
Oh, he's dead. He's not going to be needing any service. Don't worry about that.
He just kind of like exhales very heavily, as he just kind of seems to let the situation sink in, and just goes, "Oh, fuck, I knew there was something different about her, but last time I stitched up a head injury of hers that was worse than I thought was possible. She still had a fucking skull intact, at least. Mostly. Fucking hell. He just stops and thinks for a moment, and just goes, "All right, help me get her to, I guess, the operating room, the nicer one." And just kind of goes to, like, get her, like, kind of put his hand under the arm on her right side, as if to, like, you know. More.
Be careful this time. Don't startle her.
Yeah, I got it the first time.
She flinches, but she would then kind of let him grab her arm, yes?
Yeah, like, Nixe comes along to, like, hold a hand as well. I think that now that the adrenaline is kind of wearing off, she's kind of like, "Oh, and by the way, if you could look at me as well, that would be great."
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, fair. She from her first, I guess.
You walk Vex to pretty much the, like, state-of-the-art operating room that he has, and as you are walking through the hallway, Nixe, you are startled a little bit by what you initially think must be a small dog, but as you take a second to properly register what it is, you suddenly realize that it has way too many legs for a dog, and also has carapace, as you realize it's this dog-sized isopod with these big, like, spider-like legs coming out of it, like a good 5 or so pairs of them, as it kind of chitters and runs across, as he, as Stitch kind of nonchalantly just goes, "Oh, not now," and just kind of, like, you know when you, like, have to lift a cat up with your foot, not kicking them, but just, like, to push them out of the way? Mm-hmm. Like, he does that to it, clearly familiar with it.
You kick me yet?
You kick me yet?
You kick me yet? Jail for 100 years. No, basically slings it into a side room and closes the operating theatre behind you as you hear the skittering and scratching of its legs against the door as it clearly wants to be in there with you.
Question.
Yes.
Can I, with my huge brain with many information, do I know if that's like a rare pet or not that costs money?
It's definitely a weird pet. It's not uncommon, but it's not common. It's one of those things of like, because they are so specific in the fact that you can't just like go out and buy one and expect it to like you. A lot of the time, people who end up with these pets have them unwillingly because they have just decided that this place is where they want to be. You can only suspect that this thing is with Stitch in particular because he likely has a lot of biological waste, such as, I don't know, damaged entrails and stuff that he throws out. And so this thing is probably quite happily in the company of Stitch for the sake of devouring old flesh.
Ah, how eco-friendly.
But the doors close and he's just like, ugh. God, where do we start?
I think as she's being sat down on the table, she would, if able, kind of take Stitch's arm and start writing on his arm, if he allows her to.
I think you go to do that, and Stitch just goes, 1 second, and
she can't hear you.
Right. Just kind of pats your hand for a moment, goes and grabs a pen and paper and puts it into your hand. You feel the unmistakable sensation of a notebook of lined loose leaf and a paper and a pencil put into your hand.
Yeah, and she once she realizes that, quickly her hands start moving, and seemingly it's very messy. She writes with not great coordination, but with a lot of eagerness. But it's probably barely legible as she then flips it over and it reads, "WTF is wrong with me?"
He just goes, "Fuck, I thought you would know. Christ." He like isn't sure really how to communicate with you before he just kind of like quite roughly grabs your arm, like rolls up your sleeve and just does this very distinct curve followed by a dot, which is very clearly a giant question mark.
She just silently kind of throws up her arms for a second before they flop down to her sides again.
Well, he kind of like puts his hand to his head and just goes, "Does she seem like she's deteriorating?" He addresses you, Nixe.
Not so far. I think that it's kind of funny. She was actually, well, when I got this, she points at her torso. She was actually kind of helpful in dealing with shit, so I think she's actually pretty aware.
Huh. Right, well, I guess if she's doing okay so far, it's not as pressing as it might seem. That's fucking weird to say.
I mean, she's gonna need to eat at some point.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I gathered. Right, you, sit down. Points at you, Nixe.
You know when an adult tells you to sit up straight? She does that thing where she kind of sits whatever chair or place she just kind of, loves, like, very lazily and unprofessional.
As you sit down, he is going to turn around to go get some supplies before he kind of turns back to you and just goes, "Oh, fuck, you're probably chromed out, aren't you? How much chrome you got?"
How am I doing, Sav? Because
So-
I don't know a lot of the terms.
Yeah,
when they're said.
you're pretty damn cybernetic. So you basically like, you basically tell him like, oh yeah, pretty much all my stuff's cybernetics.
I am a big beep beep booper.
Ah, fuck. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, I'm not as good with cybernetics, but he kind of goes up to you, gives you a quick once-over, as he seemingly is, like, looking for some, essentially, serial numbers on your body. As he kind of goes down... Do you let him?
She's like, whoa, hey.
Do you want me to fix you or not?
I mean...
Listen, I don't know much about this chrome bullshit, but what I do know is that I know a limiter coil when I see one, and yours is busted. And if you leave that unfixed for long enough, you're gonna start frying a hell of a lot more than just whatever you've got going on right now.
Does you keeping your mouth shut cost extra?
He kind of smirks.
I guess I'll buy you another coffee as well. Alright. She's just kind of like... Be like, alright, do it to me. She just lets him examine her. She understands that she doesn't have much choice to be an ass right now.
He checks you over, gets a list of the stuff that he needs, and a few minutes later, he returns with a big cooler of various lab-grown entrails and organs, as well as a rusty and clearly underutilized cybernetics kit, as he kind of pulls out what is very clearly like a lot of very old and like very clearly like old discounted parts that he picked up, basically.
Ooh, do you have more colors? Jeez, she just looks at them.
I'm here to get you walking, not to get you fucking perfect and all shiny and sparkly. He kind of gets you to lean forward and starts to work on you. And, you know, after some time, you can tell, you feel that telltale, like, shunt in your lower back, as all of a sudden all of your nerve endings in your lower body are reconnected in a way which is like, it's not painful, but it is intensely unpleasant and overwhelming, and very clear that he is not a practiced cyber practitioner.
Oh god, you don't have... Listen, I've already had my back blown out today. I don't need it a second time.
You blow out your back?
I'm good
when he came from behind.
Hey, I've blown out a few backs in my time as well. And he finishes up and goes, and you do note as well that when he gets the new organs inside of you, which it's always fairly disconcerting that this is done when people are awake, but it's also just kind of the way of life now that you can just, you know, have someone shove organs back in you while you're awake. And he...
I mean, she has experience, so...
And you do know that he does a really nice job with the organ replacements. Like, it is almost like you haven't even had any stitches done. And he sits you up and just goes, I'd still see a proper cyberneticist about some of the parts you got there. A little out of my wheelhouse, but you can at least walk there without having your fucking spinal column burnt out.
She just kind of pats at herself a little bit and she's like, alright, coffee well earned. Do you have any teeth?
He
she points at her jaw.
he opens up your mouth and sees the fucking travesty in there. And yeah, he sighs and just gets a few other bits and
the thing about it, how many teeth?
Yeah, I think he basically sorts that out as well, but it is just It is basically a process of, you know those dentist things where they put it like in the roof of your mouth to get a mold of your teeth?
Yeah, I almost choke on one of those.
Imagine like a full mouth version of that, where instead of it being like mold material, it's essentially pluripotent cell like mixture, which is this horrible thick like consistency, and you feel him kind of just get things reset and sits you aside and goes, "You're gonna need that in your mouth for about few hours, and it'll replant all of the root beds of your teeth and everything. They're not going to come back immediately, but you'll have them."
Is she just kind of like carefully feels around her mouth, and she's like, "Second coffee well earned."
It comes out as
and she just gives up on talking, and she's just like, big thumbs up, the okay sign, and then kind of does like a little, rubs her with her fingers thing, kind of like, yeah, I'm definitely paying you for this.
Mm-hmm.
She just kind of slumps back in the corner, I think.
He nods and turns his attention to Vex finally. Vex, you've just kind of been left to sit there and twiddle your thumbs.
Well, yeah, I right before he turns his attention to her, there's probably the sound of like a big IV drip tipping over as she has started wandering around aimlessly trying to find someone.
Yeah, he turns around seeing that you've gotten up, and it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, and goes over, and you're a little startled as he grabs you, but leads you over to the table nonetheless. And he just does a once-over. You feel him just poking and prodding and checking everything, and at one point you see that he starts to examine your neck, but not before he starts to like remove your hooded cloak. And Nixe, you watch that when he does that. So the nature of your cloak is that it's quite like a scarf as well, and so there's this section at the front which is quite bundled up in its own right. And as he removes it from you, you hear the like wet clattering of something that falls out of it as you look to the floor, and you see that the lower half of Vex's jaw was actually caught by her scarf, and had just been in there the whole time. And he just goes, "That's a start, I guess." Picks it up and just kind of examines it. It's in really bad shape, but he goes, I guess you've lost a lot of blood, so..." He just goes and gets, like, a blood bag. And, Vex, you feel as he kind of, goes to roll up your sleeves, and he has essentially, like, removed all of your bulky clothing at this point. And you feel that he's about to put into your arm an IV, but as it pierces in, you feel, and this is the strange thing, right? It's, you know what it is. You know exactly what it is. It's almost as if you are able, with everything else in the world completely dull to you and black and nothingness, when the drip is pushed into your vein, there is this distinct recognition that what is entering your system is blood. And there is this sensation that overcomes you, and I'm gonna need you to make a roll, please.
Oh boy.
Could you, and how much bloodthirst do you have currently?
2, 4, 6, 7.
Out of?
Out of 8, 10, 13, 16.
Okay.
This could be really bad, Fleece. I'm sorry.
Well, at least I have new teeth.
Vex.
Yeah.
So, it's when this blood enters your vein that I've described before how it felt like your entire body was on fire whenever this happened before. When you were struck and a piece of your brain fell out, it was strange and difficult to properly orient yourself. And when your head was removed from your body, was exploded, when there was nothing left, you felt like every single trace within your body became hypersensitive. But it is when this blood enters your veins that all of a sudden you become hyper aware of exactly what part of your body is doing this. And you feel like somebody tracing hot ice across every single vein in your body. Like a cold drink going down your esophagus when you feel it flourish outwards into your chest. You feel that across your entire body as you recognize this isn't your body that's doing this. It's your veins. And at the center of it all is your heart. And you feel this awareness that almost doesn't feel like your own. And every part of your body feels like it is reliant, more so than any other, on your veins and blood and heart. And because you got above 10, you feel this strange web, this lattice that almost runs through the inside and outside of each of your veins and across your heart that is alien to anybody. And the blood rushes through you, and it's not enough. You can tell viscerally that this is not enough, as suddenly your veins seem to react in a way that is as if they have their own muscles, their own way of moving. And Nixe and Stitch watch as all of a sudden the blood from this IV bag is suddenly almost forcibly extracted through it as you watch all of these veins pulse and start to just almost explode outwards from Vex's skin as it is seemingly pulling in this blood by force, desperate and hungry for as much as possible. And before you know it, the blood bag is completely dry, and in this silent scream you watch as every single part of her body tenses up in this feral way that just immediately sends a signal to your own survival instincts that Vex is dangerous. And you suddenly become distinctly aware of every single drop of blood in your immediate vicinity, Vex.
Well, I assume Stitch is the closest.
Indeed. But you can feel something. This desire, this need, it doesn't feel fully your own. Maybe it's just because no conscious person ever truly feels themselves when in a survival situation. But you know who it is in front of you. And you can tell that you want what's inside of him. but you might be able to do something about it. There's plenty of IV bags, blood bags in this room with you, just a little bit further away. What would you like to do?
I imagine that as she realizes this, it's already that she has stood up and like her hands are partially extended towards him, but then she stops. And if she had a head to do so with, she would look around just snarling. But as it is, instead, she silently, ominously will turn towards any and all sources of nearby blood that are not Nixe and Stitch, and try to will herself to focus on those, insubstantial as they may be.
There's a flash of inner sight, like you do when dreaming. You haven't seen anything for so long at this point that this is all the more vivid. Flashes of white, accompanied by screams, seemingly trying to say something to you, something to communicate. It's desperate. It's telling you, you need to live, you need to survive, this isn't enough, we need more. I'm going to ask you to make a roll, and I'm going to give you a +2 to this, because you are below half bloodthirst. Is that 9?
Mm-hmm.
These confusing images are flashing across your disconnected consciousness, and it is hard. It is so hard, because something about you tells you that they are right. That they are right? That you are right? You don't know. It's strange, it's confusing. But before you can question it, before you can bring any level of sentience or sapient thought to the matter, you are scrabbling across the tiled flooring, knocking out of the way anything and everything in your path as you slam your hand into the refrigerator that contains all of the blood bags. And it's at this point, Nixe and Stitch, you watch as something even stranger happens. Vex reaches her hand into this fridge, and you realize that there's something sprouting from her neck. It's these red veins and arteries, and they are blooming outwards like a tree. And amongst all of those veins is barely perceptible this white lattice across them. And it forms this grotesque flora across her head as all of a sudden all of the branches turn and direct themselves into the fridge as they pierce all of the bags, and you watch as they are all drained, and this hungry swallowing begins to occur and pumped into her body as you watch that her skin flushes red, blushing with life. And it is with that a God knows how long of a supply of blood is drained in naught but seconds as you suddenly feel that life, that energy flowing within you, and your attention is directed newly. Instead, your senses change to a different prey, and you suddenly feel a different system light up in your periphery. Grey matter, nerves, the fatty sheaths that encase them and insulate them. And you feel just in the next room rows and rows of bodies, freshly kept, cold and waiting, not being used by anyone.
I would say she tries to find her way to the room, but I don't think anything that could be in her way would stop her at this point.
The only thing Nixe is doing, well, her electrical coils are absolutely firing off just in case, but otherwise, much like two tigers cycling each other, she's just watching from afar, waiting to see what Vex is doing.
And you see as she rears up and straightens her back and almost does what seems like a silent roaring battle cry, as the only thing indicating that is the way her body tenses, as if forcing the blood into the rest of her body, as she turns her shoulders, her attention elsewhere, and suddenly flings herself directly towards the wall, her blades inadvertently sprouting out from her arms, and you see almost, whereas normally they would be pushed outwards on a hinge, it's almost as if they are forced out on additional branches of red crimson veins and ligaments to extend their reach and creating this almost grotesque third segment to her arms, at which the end of it are these blades. And she slams into the wall, clawing at it as she's lifted from the ground, and she scrabbles around it, finding the door, crashing through them as they let her through. The isopod pet scrambling away, chittering and clicking in fear as you feel yourself crawl around the walls and around the corner, through another door, and into this morgue. Pulling the doors open, you scramble inside and go dark.